All right. Hello, everybody. I hope you all are doing well today. It's Monday. This is the NBA Tournament Strategy Show where on this slate, usually we look at last night's slate, see what went well, what might not have gone as well. I don't play NBA DFS on Sundays, so nothing to look back on. So we'll just jump right into today's slate, a nice 8-gamer. We'll go game by game, kind of brainstorm some guys that are in interesting spots. And then, of course, on the pre-lock show later today, for VIP members only at 5:30 p.m. We'll talk about leverage plays, core plays, how we're actually utilizing the DS tonight, which is the optimizer here for DFS Army. And try to keep the good vibes going. Tattooed Free, good to see you. All right. Shane, agreed. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Guys, it's been a weird Monday. Not my favorite start to the week, to be honest, but hopefully we'll get DFS going well, and when DFS is going well, everything's going good, at least for me. For the Mavericks, we'll start off. Luka Doncic is out. When Doncic is out, that automatically makes the Mavericks much more viable plays. They're more fun to play when both Irving and Doncic are out because then that's just a ton of open usage. But as of right now, that's not the case. Doncic is the only one who's out. Automatically, more interested in Kyrie Irving, soft matchup against the Pacers. Of course, want to see what his ownership is. Ownership is always the most important thing to me. So even if a guy's in a fantastic spot, if his ownership is outrageous, then slightly less interested. But Kyrie Irving's definitely on my radar tonight. Christian Wood. We hate playing Christian Wood. He's a volatile player, but tonight he's viable. We've seen him have more elevated minutes when Doncic is out. He's a soft matchup against the Pacers. We might end up playing some Christian Wood tonight, guys. I don't love it, but he's a viable play at 6,700. It makes a lot of sense. Tim Hardaway Jr., next guy up, who sees a nice increase in usage when Doncic is out. I'm hoping Tim Hardaway could be a little sneaky today. Hopefully he doesn't have too much ownership. I think we could definitely have some nice leverage on him tonight if the ownership's not too high. Outside of that, you can definitely still consider a guy like Maxi Kleber. I think he's a value option. Wouldn't shock me if he's super popular today. He's someone I'm fine with, but I'm not trying to force exposure to, if that makes sense. Hardy, I'm not really a fan of when Irving's playing. Green, same story. The rest of these pieces I'm not super excited about, but I do like the Mavericks tonight. So not a team I'm trying to avoid by any means. TDC, nice. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate the subscription. And along those same lines, if you guys could like the show, for those of you who haven't subscribed, subscribe. It definitely does help us out to make us keep doing this stuff, which we like doing. So appreciate it. Thomas Dye said, what's up? Hope everything's well. Appreciate it, man. I hope you're doing well too. Bill Betts, good to see you, man. The Pacers are another interesting team tonight. There's a few of these situations where the questionable tags will mean everything for me. You guys know I don't like playing guys against the Mavericks too often. They just play at a pretty slow pace, and so it's hard for guys to have ceiling performances against them unless you're the opposing big. The Mavericks are a bad defense across the board, but they're especially bad against bigs. So Miles Turner, who's currently listed as questionable, is definitely on my radar. Tyrese Halliburton is also listed as questionable. Not really interested in Halliburton too much, but if Halliburton ends up being ruled out, then I get more excited about guys like Nimbard, McConnell, Nora, Mathurin, Nesmith. Everyone else on the Pacers become viable if Halliburton misses. If Miles Turner misses this game, we already know. We know what happens here. Isaiah Jackson sees a nice boost. He would be one of the chalkier plays on the slate. Jalen Smith would be the sneakier option, who would also see more consistent minutes here in a pretty soft matchup against the Mavericks. So I like the Pacers, but the news will dictate a lot of what I do. If everyone's healthy, Miles Turner is probably the only guy that I play. If we get some injuries to spice things up a little bit, I might be playing more of these guys. Next up, we have the Bucks. Not a super interesting team for me tonight. You can probably get Giannis at decent ownership, so that's a viable tournament play. But outside of that, I don't really love these guys. They're pretty healthy. Matchup's okay. I think everyone's priced pretty appropriately, so not loving this spot for these guys tonight. Game total's pretty much on par with some of the other games, so it's not like the highest total or anything like that. Yeah, hard for me to find a great case outside of what should be low ownership for one of these guys. Dave, appreciate you. Hope you're doing good, man. Hope life's treating you well. Man, college basketball was wild this weekend. I know that was random, but that was weird. A lot of craziness that I did not expect. Also, the spread in this game is 17.5. The end of the NBA season, man, the spreads just get ridiculous. The Pistons are a viable DFS team on this slate, and that's because of all the guys that they have currently listed as questionable. So we have Corey Joseph listed as questionable. Alec Burks is out. Rodney McGruder is questionable. Isaiah Stewart's been out. Bogdanovich has been out. Diallo has been out. Kate Cunningham has been out for a while. So we'll want to pay a lot of attention to the injury news here. If Magruder and Joseph miss, then we've seen Eugene have ceiling performances in these spots. If maybe just one of Corey Joseph or Magruder end up being out, that's a boost still to like Ivy, Hayes, and then whoever ends up playing. So there's definitely some interesting options here. And also the thing I like about some of these Piston plays like Eugene is even if this game does blow out, they should still see plenty of run here. So pretty safe team, but I'm just worried about their ceiling in this spot because the matchup against the Bucks is still not my favorite. A lot of it's just going to be dictated around ownership. If everyone else is afraid to take shots on them, then I'm willing to tonight. All right. Another game with a wide spread. The Rockets against the Knicks. The Rockets are pretty meh for me tonight. Not a great matchup against the Knicks. Everyone's pretty much healthy here. Jayshawn Tate's listed as TBD. Just not a spot that I'm very excited about. Ownership looks like it's very low for them, so you can take your ownership flyers. We've seen Shugan, Porter, Green have ceiling performances when everyone's healthy, but I don't think I'm getting there tonight unless I'm missing something and something stands out while I'm doing research. Other thing that's solid about the Rockets players is that a lot of their players should still see decent run, even if that game does blow out. I'm hoping the Knicks are low owned tonight. That's what I'm hoping for. The spread is wide, but the matchup against the Rockets are soft. We currently have Jalen Brunson listed as questionable. He was at shoot around yesterday, so I think most of us are assuming he will end up playing. Again, fingers crossed that they're low owned, but I'm comfortable having exposure to Randall and Brunson tonight. Potentially even from like a leverage standpoint, I could see them being leverage plays for me tonight. So again, want to see where their ownership falls for them, but they're both on my radar. If Brunson ends up not playing, I'm much more interested in this team. We all know who to play if Brunson ends up being out, so I won't rehash that, but definitely a viable play. And then really, whether Brunson plays or doesn't play, I don't really care when it comes to Mitchell Robinson at 4,800. As long as we don't get any more like crazy news with like another big being out and there's a better value at center, Mitchell Robinson's almost always on my radar as a leverage play, and I like this spot for him. Soft matchup. I like his price tag. I think he can make a lot work for me tonight. Simauto likes him as well. For the Suns, I mean, I feel like I say this a lot. A lot of these guys aren't projecting extremely well, so I would love it if they come in at low ownership. They're looking pretty healthy. Ayton's probable, so it looks like he'll be coming back. Kevin Durant's out still, so no surprise there. But I like the spot for Devin Booker. The Jazz, they're not really a defense that we need to be afraid of. So I like the spot for Devin Booker. I like the spot for DeAndre Ayton. Depending on their ownership, they're on my radar as potential leverage plays. Simauto likes them both as well. And then I never force exposure to Chris Paul, but if I get someone exposure to him, I'm fine with it. The Jazz are another one of those potentially interesting teams tonight. Lauri Markkanen's listed as questionable. We know when Lauri Markkanen's out, that's when we can play this team. We can play Kessler. We can play Olynyk. We can play Agbaji. All of those guys are much more viable for me if Lauri Markkanen does not play. If he does play, I don't have a lot of interest in this team tonight, just because I think everyone's priced appropriately for that situation, and the matchup's not great against the Suns. Yeah. So yeah, Markkanen being out makes the slate a little bit more fun. The game that everyone will probably be paying the most attention to tonight is the Sixers against the Nuggets if Joel Embiid ends up playing. Joel Embiid has been making some comments here recently about maybe playing a little bit less because he feels like he's been playing a lot here recently. So there's a chance he misses this game. He's questionable, like I said. But also, this is the matchup against Jokic, like the main guy you're competing against for the MVP. I feel like this might be a game he tries to turn himself up for a little bit. So he's automatically on my radar for that reason. But then, of course, if James Harden ends up missing it, because James Harden's also questionable, then he becomes an even better play. And then vice versa, if Embiid ends up being out, then Harden, Maxey, Harris, etc., all these guys end up being much better plays. But in general, outside of the narratives, I'm not really extremely excited about this matchup for these guys. I'm really hoping that Embiid or Harden end up being out, so we have a good reason to force exposure to some of these players. If everyone's healthy, I'll probably just be around field weight or over the field on Embiid and just move on. For the Nuggets, Michael Porter Jr. is listed as questionable. That matters. What's up, Michael Ortiz? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Happy Monday. Michael Porter Jr. being listed as questionable is a big deal. You guys know my philosophy. If Michael Porter Jr.'s out, then I play Jokic. I play Aaron Gordon. They're the two who see the highest increase in usage rate, but I also increase exposure to Jamal Murray as well. The matchup against the Sixers is not one that we love to target, but I'm still comfortable being over the field on Jokic at least. And if MPJ's out, then Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray are also on my radar. I need to dig a little bit deeper on KCP, Bruce Brown, and figure out who I really want to attack here if Michael Porter Jr. ends up being out. I think I'm leaning towards Bruce Brown, but I need to look closer so I feel more comfortable about it instead of just kind of going off a winglet kind of situation. For the Timberwolves, Karl Anthony Towns is listed as TBD. So, of course, if he's out, we can start to play these guys again. If he plays, I'm not super interested, but this game does have the highest game total on the slate. We've seen on countless occasions that the Kings really are just bad at stopping everyone. And so ownership's not outrageous on these guys. So Anthony Edwards, probably going to be a leverage play at 8,800. Sim model likes him as well. Pretty good bit. Rudy Gobert is on my radar as well, especially if Karl Anthony Towns ends up not playing on this slate. I'll be over the field on both. The problem is, I think both of these guys will end up being chalkier once we get the Karl Anthony Towns news if he ends up not playing. So, love this spot for these guys. I like the Timberwolves, but a lot of it will revolve around injury news for me. I feel like I've been on like the anti-Kings train, and I don't not like these guys. It's just I usually like other guys more than them. Tonight, De'Aaron Fox is questionable. We've seen it time and time again. If De'Aaron Fox is out, Hoyter, Murray, Barnes, all of the streaky shooters like Monk all see a little bit of a boost and become more viable on the slate. If De'Aaron Fox plays, I'm honestly not super excited about any of these guys in this game. But I'm open to forcing a little bit of exposure just out of the principle of having some exposure to the highest total game, but no one's really standing out for me too much as of right now. For the Pelicans, again, they're pretty healthy. No one's really out. But what we do have is a fantastic matchup. Portland Trailblazers are not a good defense, and so the Pelicans are going to project pretty well in this spot. Giannis Valanciunas, we've been on the right side of so far by just kind of being over the field on him here recently. Once again, we are given the situation of him being in another fantastic spot in a fantastic matchup. We have a lot of unknowns for the Trailblazers tonight, but I can almost guarantee that no matter what happens, I'll have a lot of Joval and I'll have a good bit of CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum has burned us a little bit here recently, but I'm still willing to go over the field on him in these spots. I'm okay with mixing and matching like Murphy, Herb Jones, Josh Richardson, and crew, but not guys that I'm trying to force exposure to by any means. It's going to be a spot where I let the domination station do its thing. For the Trailblazers tonight, we'll go through it. So we have Damian Lillard listed as unlikely to play because their season's dead. Anthony Simons is listed as TBD. Jerami Grant is listed as TBD. Nurkic is TBD. Watford is TBD. And then Baji and Winslow have been out for a while now. So with that being said, guys, like there could be a lot of value on this team tonight. And we already have one of the most obvious chalk value plays on the slate. Honestly, I'm extremely surprised he wasn't more expensive. But Drew Eubanks, we can just keep going back to him with Nurkic. Nurkic is TBD, but assuming he doesn't play, then Eubanks is the obvious play here. Shaedon Sharpe as well. Watford, I plan on having exposure to the Portland Trailblazers, and I'll be over the field on these guys as long as the news breaks the right way. I'll also force exposure to some of the guys who are at lower ownership. Like if Cam Reddish or Matisse Thybulle are low owned, I am willing to force exposure to them in these spots. Again, like if Simons and Grant end up being out. So a few pieces we have to watch out for. Nasir Little's also looking like a extreme value on this slate that we can look to target. But again, just need to get that injury news. And as soon as we get that, we'll have a better grip on what we need to do there. Hopefully we get that. Hopefully. I think we will. Next up, we have the last game on slate. Bulls against the Clippers. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is one of those rare occasions where I don't love the last game on the slate. I think the Bulls are pretty healthy tonight, just not a game environment I'm loving. Nikola Vucevic is pretty much always a leverage play for me, just because he tends to be under-owned and I like his upside. Assuming that's the case again tonight, he's on my radar for that, but don't love these guys very much. And part of it is just because of their matchup against the Clippers, their price tag. I just feel is very appropriate, and they're all healthy, so nothing's just really standing out for them, personally. But hopefully that changes. If they're extremely low owned, I'll be more willing to take some shots on them. And then last but not least, we have the Los Angeles Clippers. Let me double check. How does the sim model feel about Kawhi tonight? It's okay with him. It doesn't hate him, but it doesn't love him as much as a guy like Jokic. And then where's Russell Westbrook? Yeah, not the biggest fan. And you guys are kind of seeing why I'm not huge on this game. Kawhi Leonard, I'm open to. He's priced up more appropriately for the situation he's in now about Paul George. I just feel like everyone's priced pretty efficiently. The only thing that will make these guys stand out for me is if they are significantly low owned, like single digit ownership would help them stand out a little bit for me. The only guys I'm kind of considering are like Kawhi, Westbrook, Gordon, but it's tough with some of the better plays we have earlier in the slate. So news per usual, guys, will dictate everything. I look forward to seeing everyone on the pre-lock show, 5:30 p.m. Eastern for VIP members only. But yeah, good luck tonight, guys. I'll see y'all later. Have a good one. Peace out.